Aloha, we are in the Middle East. We're in the United Arab Emirates in Abu Dhabi for the Abu Dhabi All-Stars. I'm joined here with Anthony Vella. We're here for an incredible event. Anthony, what do you think?
Oh, it's exciting. We've got 32 competitors on the men's side getting ready to go today. We're in the middle of the desert, surfing perfect waves. Everyone's having a great time, and we're looking forward. We saw Zane Schweitzer take out last year's event. Also in that final was Jan Vaj. Very tight final, so we've got perfect conditions for every surfer, and it should just be a really exciting event.
Yeah, thanks, Anthony. Yeah, it's going to be an exciting event this year. Definitely a different format from last year, where it was an exhibition event for 16 guys kind of enjoying themselves here for 3 days. We're here for business this time. This is an official stop on the Stand Up World Tour. We have the world's best, the top 32 here battling it out on their journey towards an eventual and possible world title. So it's all to play for here. We have a different format.
We have man-on-man from the beginning in a sense, but the first round will actually be a 32-man showdown because we will be going for a higher score that will advance you through to the main event, through to round 3. So that means the top 12 scoring athletes from your best 2 waves will go through to round 3. The rest will go into a repechage format. So this allows guys who don't have a good first heat to have another chance. But given the controlled nature of the environment, that every wave is the same, we're able to have a higher scoring format to allow the guys to really go to town and get the waves they want.
Just to let everyone know how the scoring is going to go, each surfer will get 3 lefts, they will get 3 rights, and 3 closeout waves. From those 9 waves, they will take the top score from the left, top score from the right, top score from the closeout. Then from those 3 scores, their top 2 will count. So there's no, oh, it's a right-hand point break, it's a left-hand point break. You really have to show complete surfing to advance through these heats today and tomorrow, and it's going to be really exciting to see this format. We're going to have 2 heats in the water at once, just to make it easier on the Wadi Adventure part to have, so that you'll see 4 surfers in the water surfing the lefts, and then the 4 surfers will surf the rights, and then they'll surf the closeouts as well, and then we'll move on to the next round.
That's exactly right, Anthony. For those of you who have watched the Pipeline ASP event, for example, where they have 2 heats running concurrently, it's a little bit that situation where the first heat will go first, alternating between themselves, between blue and yellow. Those are the Lycra colors today. And then it'll go on to the other 2 for the lefts, and then we'll change the setting. It'll go to rights. Because this is a machine, the machine needs time to adjust. You have to change the setting, so it's easier to do it less than more. So that's the thinking behind that. And then for those of you who are watching your loved ones and friends compete today, even if they don't make this first round, they will go into the repechage, but it will be somewhat of a sudden death format. They'll have less waves. They get 4 closeouts in the repechage, and their best 2 results will count towards an overall result, and it'll be the top 4 out of those 20 advancing through to join the others in round 3. So 4 out of 20, so it's going to be a really nail-biting heat that tomorrow. As we see this first wave of the set, this is a left coming through, but this is a clean-up set. The first wave, once you change the machine, is slightly different from all the others, so we've run 1 through just to get the machine on order. So we're now going to be getting underway with heat number 1, Caio Vaz and Dylan Frick. Caio Vaz from Brazil, obviously on a roll right now. He was 2nd in the world overall last year. This year, 2 wins back-to-back, 1 at Sunset Beach, 1 at home in Brazil. He's now here in the Middle East, ready to do battle.
Yeah, Kyle really showing his complete surfing, winning in the big waves in Sunset, also in the smaller beach break waves at home. And we've got Dylan Frick from South Africa making his first stop on the tour. Dylan's from the Cape Town area, just youngster at 18 years old. He started off as a racer, but entering his first surfing contest, riding his starboard 7.4, so we're looking forward to Dylan surf. And just to introduce the second heat, we've got Lucas Medeiros from Brazil and Kieran Taylor, who is an Australian living here. He's the one who actually started this whole thing.
Yeah, it's great to have Kieran. He's a great guy. He joined us on the Stand Up World Tour a few years back, and I was sitting down in a creperie in La Torche in northwest France, having a beer and a crepe, and we were sitting there chatting, and he goes, man, we've got to come here to Abu Dhabi. This is an insane environment. It's really level. You know, it's a first even for the surfing world to have an international world championship event take place in a wave pool. So this is myself, Tristan Boxford, joined by Anthony Vella. We're bringing you the scores blow by blow here at Wadi Adventure in the beautiful region of Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates.
So here we go, Kyle Vaz taking off on the first wave of the event. Notice how close he gets to the wall. He's going on his backhand with a nice swooping crossbow turn. Setting up for a second turn, just slides his spins out a little bit. One more beautiful turn, throwing some spray, and finishing with a fourth turn in about an inch deep of water onto the sandpaper bottom.
Well, that was a great opening ride for Kyle Vaz. He's been so consistent this year. I mean, he's always showed flair and really moments of brilliance in the last couple of years, but this year it seems like he's just nailed down his consistency and his grace under pressure. He had a great opening wave there, first left, really milking it all the way to the inside. As we see Dylan Frick in yellow, as Anthony said, more known for his race at the moment. He's definitely one of the, well, he's the leading racer in South Africa, and he competed on the World Series last year in Germany. But here he is at his first World Tour event. He'll be competing in the World Series later this week as well. But I watched him this morning. He looked great as we see Kaio and Jan chatting on the beach there, giving him some feedback on his first wave. These brothers are really phenomenal athletes, but they're also reality TV stars. They have their own show in Brazil, and Kaio's other claim to fame is not only being a model, but being a part of a soap opera in Brazil. So quite the celebrities at home. A lot of people in Brazil watching them this week out here in the Middle East.
Yeah, they're just two of the nicest guys you'll meet. They're always smiling, and you love to see the camaraderie between brothers. You saw the shot of them down there. You see Jan giving Kaya some pointers on his wave and just giving him some feedback, letting him know how it went and why his spin slid out a little bit. As we see Dylan in that waiting zone, it's a little tricky in that waiting zone, a little bit more difficult than open ocean swells. You can read him a little bit better. As we see Dylan getting ready to catch this wave, he's also on his backhand, very close to the wall. See Dylan Frick's first wave on tour. He'll have two more lefts that will go into his account, and we will see Lucas Medeiros on this next wave.
No, actually we're staying in Heat 1 now. We alternate between, in Heat 1 we're alternating between the two athletes. So it'll be Kyle, Dylan, Kyle, Dylan, Kyle, Dylan, then we'll go into Lucas, Kieran, Lucas, Kieran, Lucas, Kieran. So that's the order of affairs. We're doubling up the heats, as I say, just because of the machine, to make sure we don't keep on having delays when we change the direction of the wave. But yeah, as Anthony said there, it is a tricky wave to ride that left. You think it's going to have more punch. The closeout is definitely the most high performance of the waves, but we saw with Kyle Vaz, he really opened up and showed what that left is capable of, right?
Yeah, getting in 4 turns on that short little wave is very impressive. His first turn, he went really big, which the judges like to see. So the judges are looking for a really aggressive, controlled first maneuver, and obviously finishing the wave out. But I think just like in all of the conditions, your first couple of turns are the high-scoring ones when the wave is at its biggest point and has the most power. So we will see all the guys going for a huge first turn, and then they'll try to just keep adding points to their score with those secondary and tertiary turns. So we see Jan Vaz, we see Kaya Vaz ready, the lifeguards looking on. Everyone from Wadi Adventure has been so great helping us.
So just so that you know, we will be announcing live scores through the day. We're just waiting for the final scores to drop for those first 2 waves. As we see Kyle Vaz dropping in here. See right by the wall as he drives off the bottom. Carving right back into the white water, really staying high, which is important here. Nice slashing turn. Gets right up into the lip, just gets caught up there on the inside, but the true Brazilian style of being able to go 12 o'clock every time up into the white water. It's great to see Kyle on form here. Not quite as strong, I don't think, as his first wave, but we'll wait to see what those scores come in at. At the end of the left here, we will provide you with their best left, because they will be getting 3 lefts, and their best one will go into their final scoreline. They'll get 3 rights. The best right will go into their final scoreline, and then they'll have 3 closeouts, and the best closeout will go into their final scoreline. But what happens then is that their worst out of those 3 results will get discarded, and they'll be left with 2 results, which will give them their final score. So we'll keep you abreast of that. The graphic will show the final score after each wave category, and we'll keep you abreast as the scores come in.
Yeah, thanks Tristan for that clarification. As we saw a shot of Kyle and Jan with video replay, so the brothers really getting into it, going a chance with the video replay to see where he went wrong with that little bit of a slip up, but his Arton surfboard working very well. You see his first turn was a nice swooping cutback. There's a shot of South African Dylan Frick getting ready on his starboard. He's on the 7.4 Sean Pointer model. Dylan got into stand-up paddling like all of us, just kind of on a whim. He was at an event, and they said, hey, try this, and he was really good as we see him taking off on his backhand. These beautiful shots. The water just looks incredible. Nice swooping cutback turn, rebounding off the white water, and just getting caught up a little bit. You can see their fins sliding out. This is a very similar to as we see Dylan kicking out after his second wave. So each of these competitors will have one more left, and then we will see heat number 2 serve their lefts. So Kyle Vaz on first wave, 4 turns. He fell.
So waves coming. You see getting ready just inches from the wall. Again, going for the nice cross-bow turn. Another beautiful cross-bow turn to spray. Just a little bit of stuff across. 2 very good opening turns. See what the judges think of his 3 lefts. We will give you his highest score from his 3 lefts. Dylan has one more and we'll give you his highest score as well.
So athletes, this is your scoring update. Rider in blue, Kyle Vaj. Your first left was a 6. Your second left was a 5.3. So Kyle, you have a 6 and a 5.3. We'll wait for your last wave to drop. As it stands right now, your counting left will be a 6, but we'll wait for that last score to drop. Yellow, Dylan Frick. Your first left was a 2.5. You are now obviously about to have your third. So there's your scoring update. Blue, 6 and a 5.3. Yellow, 2 and a 2.5. So Dylan needs at least a 3.6 in order to get ahead of Kyle here in this first showdown at the lefts.
So Dylan enjoying his first time out here. His first event on tour. Coming from the Cape Town area. Just speaking with him about stand-up over there, and just like everywhere around the world, it's just continuing to boom, and he's one of the leaders. It'll be interesting going back home, and he can tell all of his friends and teammates about what an incredible time he had here on the stand-up world tour. As Dylan takes off on his backhand, first turn staying nice, low, and compact, not quite completing his second turn. So Dylan having his first 3 waves, and the poor guy, he was talking to him the other night. He's like, I have to go up against the current ratings leader and the gentleman who won the first 2 events. So a little bit intimidating for your first event on tour, but he's going to perform very well. He's been ripping in the free surfing sessions, so we're stoked to have Dylan here.
Absolutely, Anthony, and I'm sure he was one of the even more relieved athletes to learn about the repechage format. The repechage format really allows, because Dylan could even advance directly to round 3 with the way it is being scored, because the top 12 scoring athletes will go directly through to round 3. The rest will go into a repechage, but still all to play for here. We'll wait for that score to drop for Dylan Fripp, who still has the rights to go. But meanwhile, we have our next athletes up on deck. Lucas Medeiros is up next with the next left. Lucas Medeiros, you are on the next wave. So Lucas will be on the first wave there. And then we will have Kieran Taylor, who will be switching out with him. So these two will get their left-hand waves, and then we'll switch to the right, and we'll go back through the same order. So we've got plenty of action for you here, quite literally on tap, Anthony, as the wave pool is on. This should be great. We have the first round of action here from there. And we have a scoring update. It looks as though Kyle scored 106 on his last left. So Kyle Vaz, your scoring left, going through scoring is a 6. That is your high score for the lefts. Yellow, your high score for the lefts is a 2.5. So as it stands right now, blue with a 6 and yellow with a 2.5. So they'll be waiting for rights. So we had a bubble wave, it looks like. We'll wait for confirmation on that.
So Lucas, as per the instructions earlier, that appeared to be a bubbling wave. It is your turn again. So Lucas, it's your turn once again, Lucas. So at times the wave pool throws up a little bit of a funky wave. We want every single wave the competitors have to be the exact same. Lucas, it was a scoring wave. It was a scoring wave. So Kieran, please get out there. We'll update. Kieran Taylor is paddling out right now. Lucas, that was a scoring wave. We had a mix-up. So Kieran's paddling out. Lucas, once again, that wave did count for you. That was a missed wave for Lucas. So Kieran is paddling out to get his wave. So we apologize for that incorrect information, Lucas, as Kieran's getting ready on tap for his first wave.
So it's difficult to tell up here. It looked like that left is definitely a lot less powerful than the closeout. We've been watching the closeouts all morning, and they've just got a little bit more punch to them, but it looked a little weak, that left, but in fact it was. The judges have been watching all morning, and they confirmed it was a proper wave, as we see Kieran Taylor here on his orbiting wave. Wrapping back into the whitewater, Kieran Taylor from Australia, but he is actually our local wildcard resident here in Abu Dhabi. He's been living in Al Ain for many years now, as he works it all the way to the inside. He, I would say, knows this wave better than anyone, so local knowledge does come into play. As rider in yellow, Kieran Taylor looks to head back out. Lucas Medeiros is one of the rising talents from Brazil. He's an amazing surfer, put on a solid performance this first year in his first event, I believe, even in France. Great performance there. He got all the way to 5th, I believe, and here he is. Well, he went to then Sunset, put on a solid performance there, and Brazil again, a great performance, got even further. So Lucas in a very good position as we see him come into the rising stars of Brazil.
We have a shot of our competitors getting ready for their heats. There's Kiahi Diaboit, Sean Pointer, Jan Vaj. As we now have a shot of our competitor in blue, Lucas Medeiros. He's got one of the brightest smiles on tour. Just what a nice young lad trying to be cool tour this year. He absolutely rips. We had a great showing at Sunset and stayed in Hawaii for a little while. Got a chance to surf some other waves and hang out with the jiu-jitsu crowd in Hawaii. Had a nice session with Kelly Slater doing some jiu-jitsu as he gets ready for his second wave.
So we have a scoring update. Blue, your last wave was a 0.4. Yellow, your last wave was a 3.8. So blue 0.4, as we see Lucas Medeiros right in blue setting up for this left, his second left.
Lucas throwing some spray on his first wave, our goofy footer. Sliding his fins out on his third turn, but two good first turns, so Lucas will prepare for his third left as Kieran Taylor in yellow getting ready to paddle out on his starboard. He's really been taking care of the starboard crew. The guys have had a lot of fun this week doing some of the many fun things that there are to do out here. They went to UFC fights, and Kieran just showed the boys a good time.
That's for sure. He's a great guy. He's been here for many years. He's got an interesting job. He is a outside. Thoughts, you know, some people goes up and land and changes the game in the switch from out.
For his first ride, so we'll wait for the next scores to drop.
Kieran joined the tour at Sunset Beach last year. Had a great showing in the trials. Made it into the main event in last year's Sunset event. We're excited to see him surfing here at his local break. You see these waves come up so close to the wall. The closer to the wall you get, the more power you have as Kieran's on his backside, using his paddle to a little bit more room to work with. And pumping down the line for a finish. Going for the 360, not quite pulling it, but getting some good turns to start his wave, and then he'll have one more.
So we have a score update. Lucas Medeiros, your last wave was a 4.9. 4.9. Lucas Medeiros. Kieran, we're still waiting for your second wave, but your first wave was a 3.8. We're waiting for the second wave.
Lucas making his way out. He just has a fun time wherever he goes. You see him out in the water in the free surfs, just out there having a great time. Logs more water time than a lot of the guys. He just loves being in the water. Part of the strong Brazilian contingent that follows the tour. You'll see the surfers looking at their watches. The waves come every 90 seconds, so it's a very difficult wave to catch. But you see, these are the top stand-up paddle surfers in the world. They make it look very easy as Lucas is circling, preparing for his final left wave in this opening round. Lucas taking off on the left, gets nice and low, throws some spray on his first turn, right in the pocket. Again, beautiful turn. As you get some speed for a closing maneuver, goes for the paddle transfer and rides out of that one. So that was a nice wave for Lucas. We'll see what the judges say.
So we have a last score for you, Kieran. Your last wave, rider in yellow, was a 3.7. Kieran, your last wave was a 3.7. You'll be looking to improve on that, I believe. Lucas, for the moment, his high score is a 4.9. We're waiting for his last wave score to drop. So rider in blue, we're waiting for your last score to drop. After this exchange, so Kieran will have one more wave, then we'll actually be changing the direction of the wave. It'll turn to right. And we'll go back to heat one for Kyle Vaj and Dylan Frick to get their chance at the right.
You see Zane Schweitzer looking on with Candace Appleby. Giorgio Gomez getting his board waxed up, ready to go. Izzy Gomez getting in the conversation. What a great venue for the spectators to watch and cheer on their friends. You know, everyone's competing together, but these group of surfers travel around the world together, and you know, they're really all great friends. So it's tough when you get into competition with each other, but everyone's here to try and win. And you see Izzy and Candace, they had a very tight heat over in Brazil where Izzy but you see them having a great time. what a great tour for these competitors to really showcase the level of stand-up paddle surfing as Kieran Taylor is taking off on his final left. Goes for a nice paddle transfer turn. Goes high off the whitewater and a very good second turn. Getting in the third one, staying nice and low to ride it out and show the judges it was a complete maneuver, but showing some great paddle work on that wave.
Yeah, I would endeavor to say that was his best wave so far. It was a really nice wrapping opening turn and then a couple of extra turns where he's got a little fin release on him. So I think that will definitely move on his scoreline. We'll see how it comes at us. As we see Baxter on the water taking advantage of the transition wave. Once they change the direction of the wave each time, there is one wave that will come first before we actually have the scoring waves for the athletes. So as we see Connor Baxter taking advantage of this transition wave, we see Kieran Taylor. Oh, we've got a replay. Here you go. This is Kieran Taylor on his last left. This was a great left here. That's the Turtle Bay replay as we see him wrapping back into the whitewater. Gets some nice direction up into the lip there. Just slight fin release there, a real nice turn, and another little check turn, and then a little fin release on the small closing section there. So that was your Turtle Bay replay. Great to see Kieran on form here.
That was a well-surfed wave. That was, I would say, one of the better waves of the morning. And just to remind everyone the format, thanks for joining us on the live webcast all around the world. Those of you in America staying up late watching. Those of you in Brazil, thanks for watching. We've got 32 surfers in this first round, so they're in heats, but they're surfing against all 32 competitors. So the top 12 will go directly into the third round, and we have a rapid charge round of 20 surfers. As we see Connor Baxter just getting ready for the transition wave. So as they switch from the lefts to the rights, there will be one wave that comes through that will not count. So the surfers will take advantage of this. We have scores coming for you.
And here we have the final scores where both riders got their best wave on their last wave. Lucas Medeiros, your counting left was 5.7, so that is the wave that goes to your scoreline. Kieran Taylor, your best wave was a 4.6, that was your last wave. Kieran Taylor, a 4.6. So Lucas Medeiros will end with a 5.7, and Kieran Taylor with a 4.6 at the end of that left division. So we will be going into the rights as we see Connor Baxter waiting for this transition wave to come through. It's funny to watch the guys floating. There's definitely a lot less flotation here in the pool than there is in the ocean. They're sitting lower in the water. They're having to keep busy to stay at the performance end of stand-up paddling here.
Yeah, you see just a couple inches of his nose out of the water, but shows their incredible balance. And like you said, without the salinity in the water, there's a little bit less flotation, a little less buoyancy. And some of the competitors are actually riding their step boards to have a little bit more flotation, as Connor taking off on this one on his backside.
A nice little turn there for Connor as we see him sporting his Maui gyms there, Anthony. Connor's definitely not a stranger to wearing his sunglasses in the water. He made some waves last year with that too. Connor always a joker, great performer on the water. Great to see him back here in Abu Dhabi. As we take a look at our Brazilian contingent, there's Lucas Medeiros, currently leading his heat, as right next to Nicole Pacelli, the current world champion. Also ratings leader coming into event 3, giving us a little wave. There's Lucas. Lucas is one of the nicest people on tour, I'd have to say. Always smiling, always a great ambassador for the sport and for Brazil.
Yeah, it was great to meet Lucas at Sunset Beach, and just everyone's so incredibly nice. He just has a smile that shines and makes you feel happier. So we're glad to have you, Lucas. And waiting for the first right of the contest. So we'll go back to heat 1, which is Kaio and Dylan. So Kaio Vaj in blue, Dylan Frick in yellow. They will surf there, 3 rights each, and then we'll go back to Lucas Medeiros and Kieran Taylor.
Kill my audio. Camera 2.
So Kyle is on a roll, having 2 wins already on tour. His surfing in the final at Sunset Beach was incredible, just showing incredible commitment, control, back into the white water, setting up for his second slashing fin release turn. A little bit stuck behind, but manages to continue on, going for a little 360, but will not be a complete maneuver. So you'll see some of the different strategies of the competitors. You get 3 chances for each wave. So you want to build on each score. Make sure you get 1 score under your belt, and then try and go bigger and better on each successive wave. So once again, Jan showing him the video replay. Oh, look at this, you were ripping. As we'll go to our Turtle Bay replay. And we see a replay of Kyle smiling after his first wave. It's incredible how Dylan stays on his 7'4". He's not exactly a small fellow, coming in at about 75 kilograms, so he shows incredible balance, but normally riding a 7'1", riding a 7'4" today. As we go back to the Turtle Bay replay, we again see that double pump bottom turn, the nice cut back into the power source, then Kyle really laying it on rail in that second turn, releasing his fins, but just getting a little bit unstuck. And he's going for a little fun 360, but it's about, again, 2 or 3 inches deep, so he decides to pull out and get ready for his next one as we see Dylan.
So Dylan on the right here. Nice slashing opening turn, throwing a lot of spray, putting his weight into that turn. And another really gets the fins almost free there. That was a great turn from Dylan. And another slashing turn, that's a great opening wave. Obviously feeling more comfortable on his front hand, I think. I think we're going to see some high scores for Dylan here. But a great opening wave also for Kyle Vash from Brazil. So turning into a pretty good showdown here.
That's got to give Dylan a lot of confidence. He, on the left, he didn't quite get his feet right. He was trying to figure it out, but on his first right, he really laid into those turns, throwing some pretty good spray. Dylan opening up his account on the right. There's plenty of time for these guys to think about what they did on their waves. As you see, they just wait in the shallows. As you go back to a replay of Dylan's wave, Turtle Bay replay, he had his first turn. This is his second turn. Slashing and throwing lots of spray, staying nice and low, compact, and again throwing spray. For the size of the wave and the amount of spray, that was incredible, Tristan.
I agree there, Anthony. It's great to see that he is a talent to be reckoned with in the surfing as well. I've actually never seen Dylan surf before, so excited to see him in action. As we take a look at the athletes area, there's board storage, there's chill out areas. We'll see all the crew there relaxing and enjoying the action. It's definitely warm outside, and there is no AC on tap in the outside environment. I'm glad we're in the commentary booth. But we look out to sea, so to speak, and it is Kyle Vash on the outside. He's going to be waiting for his second left, so we're just waiting for those scores to drop. We'll give you the update in a second here as we see the wave come through. This is Kyle Vash on the right as he paddles almost into the wall there. Just wrapping opening turn. He sets up for getting the fins free there on the second turn. And a nice little closing punctuation mark. Unfortunately, just gets stuck down there. There's a brother in the background. He's an additional filmer in this heat with his iPhone. A nice, another wave from Kyle. I've got a feeling his first one was better, but we got scores dropping right here. Kyle Vash gets a 7.8 for his first wave. So Kyle Vash, your first wave was a 7.8. We'll wait for that next score to drop, but Kyle Vash, a 7.8. Dylan Frick, your last wave was a 6.7, so great performance from Dylan Frick there. Your first right-hand wave was a 6.7.
The judges really liking Kyle's first wave. You saw his controlled cutback, and we go to a Turtle Bay replay of Kyle's wave. So you'll see him dropping in close to the wall, staying nice and low, setting up for a nice turn into the white water, and then really going aggressive on that second turn, releasing the fins. You can see his feet repositioning, and then Brother Jan going, "Oh, you're going for the 360."
Well, you know that end section, that's a funny one. I know that's not a real focus for the judges. Obviously, it's a punctuation mark on the way. So athletes are going to want to finish a ride with flair, but the real business is down
from Rio de Janeiro. As we see the wave coming through, this is Dylan Frick. I'm going to drop in on his second right. Dropping in right on the wall there. He's looking really at home on his forehand. Nice opening turn. He's got a real nice crisp top turn there. And again, getting right up into the lip and slashing, making it all the way to the inside here. So another nice wave for Dylan Frick. Definitely showing a lot of power in his top turn. Driving well off the bottom, but we saw Kyle Vaj on his wave. A little more drive off the bottom probably on his second turn, but more of an open turn on his first turn.
Yeah, I think Kyle may have broken his leash. There was a closeout set that came through, so he had to switch leashes and prepare for this last scoring right-hander. Again, what a great lounging area for everyone to get ready for their heat. The Frotha, Justin Holland. You got Mo showing them some tunes. Mo Freitas getting ready for his heat. Going back to the Turtle Bay replay. So this is Dylan Frick from South Africa, starboard team rider. Right close to the wall, just staying right in the pocket, throwing some spray. Maybe getting a little bit behind, but manages to recover very well and get up and into his second turn, third turn. And then just, like you said, Tristan, a little exclamation at the end.
So we have your last two scores right in blue. Your second right-hand wave was a 7.0. Right in yellow, Dylan Frick, your last wave was a 5.2. So another good score for Kyle, just keeping consistency going here on his forehand. Dylan getting a 5.2, but definitely up there. He has a 6.7 for his first wave, so that'll be his people. Same with Kyle, his next wave, his first wave is 7.8. Let's see what this third wave can bring.
So Kyle going for a little bit of a fade takeoff, just changing it up a little bit. First turn, just staying nice and low, and really going aggressive on his second turn, a little too aggressive as his rail just gets caught. Kyle is completing his third right, and he'll get ready for the closeout section. As his brother shows him the video replay.
So we see the Vaj brothers enjoying life on the inside here in the pool. So we can go to the Turtle Bay replay, brought to you from Oahu's favorite North Shore. As we see Kyle Vaj dropping into his final left of his, his final right of his right. There's a nice layback, top turn there. Chris, top turn that just comes out strong. Really throws his feet out, unfortunately coming unstuck. So there's your Turtle Bay replay.
So there's a couple different strategies on the takeoff. You can stay as close to the wall as possible, or you can get a little bit wider and fade into the power source. So you'll see some of the surfers try the different tactics to show a little bit of variety to the judges and really show them their versatility. As we have Tristan Boxford with Anthony Vela here, giving you the play-by-play on watermanleague.com. We're at the Abu Dhabi All-Stars. So Tristan, thanks for having everyone here, and we're just stoked to be in Abu Dhabi, and what a great tour we have as we see Dylan Frick getting ready for his third right-hand wave. Dylan. Again, throwing spray on his first turn, staying nice and low. Beautiful slash in second turn. And just nose diving, getting a little ahead of that.
Yeah, little punctuation. Nice opening turn. He's showing a lot of power. He's throwing a lot into his top turns. The judges will like that. We'll wait to see how those final scores drop. Actually, we have a final score for Kyle Vaj's 3.4, so that does not change his score line. Kyle Vaj's top score of a 7.8 will be going down into his overall score line. We'll wait for the final score of Dylan to come through. As we got the Turtle Bay replay, here we have Dylan Frick from South Africa, our sole South African representative at this event. Right on the wall there, driving up the bottom, and really gets a lot of slash into his top turn. And again, that's a really nice full rail top turn. Just getting a little caught up here, but the work really haven't already been done there. As we go back to heat number 2 with Lucas Medeiros and Kieran Taylor. This is Lucas Medeiros in blue, currently leading, I believe, with a higher top score from the lefts.
So there's Dylan having a little bit of a walk after his rights. He'll prepare for the closeouts. So they're finished with the lefts, they'll finish with the rights, and now they'll prepare for the closeout wave. And competitors can choose to go either left or right on the closeout. But for Lucas, this is a right scoring wave. So this is his first one, staying nice and low on his backhand. Very controlled paddle transfer and a very nice cross bow top turn. Going off the lip, and once again going straight up. Jumping off in ankle deep water, so Lucas opening up his account on the rights. So very nice first wave for Lucas Mineros from Brazil.
So Lucas, there you see Team Brazil manager there, Jan Vaj, giving some advice to his crew here as we see Lucas Medeiros. Nice opening turn on the rights. Nice opening wave as we go to the Turtle Bay. Let's see what Lucas had for us. He's on his backhand here. The Brazilians generally just have such crisp, vertical backhand assaults, as we see him there, getting a lot of slash off the top there. Getting a little caught up at the top, but definitely a nice wave for Lucas all the way to the inside. So that, I'm sure, will be a great start for Lucas on the rights. As we see Kieran Taylor, local wildcard from Australia. He actually has some heritage in the island of Kauai as well. He has some land over there. His father living over there still.
Kieran taking care of his starboard teammates. I think Zane Schweitzer and brother were staying up here in his house. And it's one of the great parts about this tour, just traveling around to all the different locations. Meeting the locals and showcasing the art of stand-up paddle surfing.
So we have final results from Kyle and Dylan. Actually, let's talk them through this wave. This is Kieran Taylor. Cutting back into the white water. Slashing off the top there. We'll see how that compares to Lucas's wave on his backhand there. But we do have a scoring update for so Kyle and Dylan. Dylan, your last wave of your last right was a 6.4. So it does not improve on your best wave of a 6.7. That means the best waves counting out of the rights for Kyle and Dylan are Kyle Vaj from Brazil with a 7.8 and Dylan Frick from South Africa with a 6.7. That means, as it stands, Kyle Vaj leading as we go into the Turtle Bay replay. This is Kieran Taylor. There's a nice opening turn that doesn't get too much into his turn. Same with that, nice slash, getting the fins a little bit free, but not getting this much arc into the turn to get up into the lip there.
So just to give you scores again from Kyle and Dylan. So Kyle with a 6 on the left, a 7.8 on the right. Dylan with a 2.5 on the left and a 6.4 on the right. As we have Lucas Medeiros and Kieran Taylor now working their way through the rights. They've both had one right. They'll have 2 more. So 3 lefts, 3 rights, and 3 closeouts. So the first score for Lucas was a 5.7 as we see Lucas taking off on wave number 2. Nice, low and compact, really getting to the top of the wave. Paddle transfer with a nice crossbow turn. Traditional turn with his paddle, throwing some spray and jumping off very wisely on that 4th turn.
So Lucas being really wise here, using the full extent of the wave, right from the bottom to the top, and that's super important. The judges are looking for that. That last wave of Kieran's, he didn't get up as high into the wave. They'll be looking for Kieran to really push the boundary of his surfing there as far as getting right up into the lip and using the full height of the wave. Lucas succeeding in doing that on his backhand there. We'll see what the next scores come in at. But we do have a scoring update. Lucas, your first right was a 5.7. Kieran, your first right was a 3.6. We'll wait for your second waves to drop there as Kieran will go into that. As we're going to go into Turtle Bay replay here for that last wave of Lucas. Let's see what he had on his backhand rider in blue, Lucas Medeiros. Off the wall there. Nice slashing opening turn there. And another one. A little caught up in the white water, but not much. There's a nice, crisp, little climbs into the foam. So that was definitely a good wave from Lucas Medeiros. We'll see what that comes out as, see if that improves on his 5.7, as we see Kieran Taylor waiting for his next wave.
Yeah, Lucas really generating a lot of speed off the bottom. You can see him very low and compact on his turns and using his paddle to accentuate his turn. So the judges like to see paddle work as well. So you'll notice the competitors switching hands, switching sides with their paddle as Kieran Taylor taking off a few feet away from the wall. You'll see him fade back into the power source with a paddle transfer cut back into the white water. Second turn, throwing some spray, pumping down the line. Fin release, third turn, and just coming unstuck. So Kieran, a little bit more aggressive on that second wave, showing some speed and power and flow on that wave, with a very aggressive paddle transfer first turn. So that is the second right for Kieran. As Lucas prepares for his third scoring right, we will look at a replay of Kieran's last wave. So you see he's on his forehand, changing sides with his paddle, and then hitting the white water and paddle transfer again, then releasing the fins on his second turn. And that just made everything go crazy because that turn was really aggressive. So our Turtle Bay replay, as we see Lucas Medeiros at Wadi Adventure. Raft, kayak, and surf. They've got zip lining, they've got so many different things to do here. A couple of different levels of rafting and kayaking. So there is a kind of beginner course, and then we'll take you to the class 3 and 4 rapids. The boys had fun the other day going on the class 4 rapids. I think there was some flipping and Kyle Lenny flying out of the boat, but we see Lucas getting ready for his third right-hand wave.
I was going to say, Anthony, I think if Kevin Costner had seen Wadi Adventure before they made Waterworld, it might have been more of a success. They have a bit of everything here at the Wadi Adventure. As we see Lucas Medeiros jumping into his own Waterworld here on his backhand. Driving off the bottom. Nice opening turn back into the white water. And slashing off the top there. As you see, that second turn allows for a little bit more of a critical turn. The first opening part of the wave is a bit more of a sweeping turn maneuver. The wave isn't that critical, so you got to do that more open turn, as we saw with Kyle Vaj as well. And the second one allows a bit more of a bottom to top turn, more critical turn.
Those 4 turns by Lucas were very crisp. That was, I would say, one of perhaps his top wave of the rights. Everything flowed together very nicely. The judges want to see all of the turns linking together. And we'll take a look at that one again. The Turtle Bay replay. Lucas Medeiros from Brazil. Goofy. Again, getting all the way up to the top. Nice paddle transfer, cross bow top turn, more traditional turn, and then again going, I'd say about 11 o'clock on that 4th turn into the shallows. So we'll await some scores as Kieran Taylor, starboard team rider. There's Kyle getting ready for the closeouts. Art and surf crew right there. Say hello to Antonio from Art and Surf. I know he's watching his surfers. Randy Brady's down there taking some photos.
So we have a scoring update. Lucas, rider in blue, your last wave was a 6.2. Lucas, your last wave was a 6.2. As we see Kieran dropping into this right. This is his last right-hander before we go to the closeouts. Slashing back. What I'm not sure that'll improve on his last wave score, but we'll see. That was a nice critical final turn there for Kieran Taylor. His current high score on the rights is a 3.9. That was for his second wave. Lucas Medeiros currently high score of a 6.2. We'll wait for those last scores to drop. So we got a full day of action for you here. It's just going to be men's round one, but with man-on-man heats, or rather 32 men all against each other. It's going to take some time. We'll be going all the way through about 8:30 this evening Abu Dhabi time, so Hawaii will be able to wake up and watch it. But here we have the Turtle Bay replay. This is Kieran Taylor, all the way from Australia, but resident here in the UAE. Local in Al Ain. And a nice closing turn there from Kieran Taylor. It is an incredible region here in Al Ain. It is actually the royal family, and we're very honored to have Sheikh Ahmad's presence here, His Royal Highness. The other night he came to say happy birthday to you. Very honored there, very honored. But no, it's great to see him and his invited support of this event in the UAE. What makes it all happen, so we're very, very thankful to Sheikh Ahmed for making this event happen. But also to all our sponsors, Abu Dhabi City Yacht Club, which is really the driving force behind the event, along with the ESSA, that is the National Association for Stand-Up Paddling and Surfing here in the UAE. So we're bringing our hand to those two entities, but also our host here, Wadi Adventure, who've closed down the pool to the rest of the world for 3 full days, 14-hour days of action here in the pool at Wadi Adventure. But also Yas Marina, where we'll be headed next for the Stand-Up World Series. I'd also like to say thank you to Emirates Airlines for their support, and all the entities in Yas that are supporting our event. It is going to be a phenomenal event, and a big thank you to all your support for making it happen.
I'm Anthony Vela. We've got Tristan bringing you the live webcast. So you'll have play-by-play for the full men's event and women's event here on the third stop of the Stand-Up World Tour. Really exciting developments in the rankings, both on the men's and women's side, and this is kind of getting into the really important part of the tour where the points start to matter. So
boosting, but not quite completing that maneuver, and kind of was going 180 at the end of that air. The judges want to see the maneuvers complete, so the competitors must ride out of it, but this is where they go big on the closeout section. So Kaio's got a 6 on his left, 7.8 on his right, and he's looking for his scoring wave on the closeout. So Art and Surf, team rider, Kaio Vaj on his first closeout wave.
So the closeout wave is considered the higher performance level of all the waves. Gives the most scoring potential, has that opening turn and then a big section to hit. Obviously, it's always a strategy point for the athletes to decide how they weight their turns, whether their first turn is as important or they're going to focus more on the closeout. As we see a Turtle Bay replay of Kaio Vaj, as we see him on his opening turn here, holds a little bit back on his opening turn because he's more focused, obviously, just kind of throws the tail free a little bit, but really going for that closeout turn, throws the fin out the back of the wave, but unfortunately gets a little bit too far out the back and drops out the back and falls off. But we have Dylan Frick now lining up for his first closeout. So like I said, this is probably the most high performance of the waves. We'll see the most action here as the riders really want to take to the air if possible off the closeout section, or at least bank a really, really critical committed turn. The judges are looking for commitment. So, often people going for airs and doing a flatter turn into a small hop air won't score as much as a really critical turn off the bottom. So it looks like we have some bubbling, which means this next wave will not be a scoring wave. We will confirm that momentarily, but that looks what it looks like. You'll see Dylan waiting for this wave to pass. Sometimes this happens. It is machinery and some water. I'm not sure exactly what causes it, but you'll see it's sort of a half wave that's not really. So Dylan waiting for his first wave. As we see Jan Vaj doing a selfie body surfing wave with his iPhone. All good at best out here, Anthony.
Yeah, he's having a great time down there. Just enjoying the beautiful water here, watching his brother surf and helping out not only his brother, but Lucas as well. You'll see these competitors can choose to go on the backhand or their forehand for the closeouts. I would dare say a majority of them will be going on their forehand, but maybe someone like Zane, who's really good on his backhand, or Lecco, might choose to go backhand on the closeout, but we'll see.
Yeah, actually, I think Sean Pointer would be another one I would think that would look to maybe go on his backhand. He's got such a strong backhand, but actually showing in the last few events his forehand is equally as dangerous. He was on great form in Brazil. Kaio Vaj, your last wave was a 3.2, so he didn't make that final turn, but judges obviously giving him some points for commitment, showing that he's committed to make it happen.
Here you see Dylan close to the wall preparing. WadiAdventure.ae. Check it out. You can see a lot of fun videos. Go on YouTube, you can see videos of Zane last year. There's Candace Appleby, water's edge, just getting her feet wet, trying to stay cool in this hot weather. She's taking some photos down there.
So a true adventure park here. We also saw some zip lining the past couple of days. In the highlights reel tonight, I'm sure you'll see a glimpse of some of the action that the athletes have been getting up to. Obviously, with it not being a natural resource, you can't get as much time. You can't be in the pool the whole time. So they've been out and about adventuring in the Wadi Adventure Park with whitewater rafting, zip lining, all kinds of different stuff. As we see Dylan Frick about to drop into this wave. Dylan in yellow from South Africa, the youngster. I think he's just 18 years old. Nice opening turn there, showing the fins to the judges there. And a nice closeout turn, committed, gets under it there. So, I think the camera work really showing the commitment of Dylan on both those turns. It'll be interesting to see how that score comes out. I would dare to say it will be an improvement on Kaio's score right now, but 2 more closeouts to come, and that score still to drop. So stay tuned.
So Dylan on the Starboard International team, the lone representative from South Africa, maybe cut back a little bit too far on the first turn and was just a little behind, but managed to use his strength and power to get up into the white water for his second turn. As we can take you through it on the replay, the Turtle Bay replay. You see Dylan taking off, fading towards the wall, setting up for a very nice cutback, then just has to pump to get a little bit ahead and doesn't get above the lip, but still
completing his first closeout wave.
So Dylan scoring a 3.7 on that wave, a 3.7. So you can see there, it does pay. You need to focus on one or other of the turns. He focused on his first turn. There's probably more scoring potential, I would say, on the closeout section. But rode that wave really well and getting scored accordingly. Let's see what Kyle Vaj has to offer on his second wave. So currently on the closeouts, Dylan and Frick having the advantage with a 3.7, Kyle Vaj with a 3.2. Kyle falling on his first wave. We'll see how this one pans out.
So it looks like Kyle is going to try the left on this closeout. So my person wants to show us his backhand closeout maneuvers. So we'll see what he's got for us. It's going to be great to see the variety of aerials that these competitors are going to show us for these next 3 days. I'm excited.
No, definitely. In Brazil, we saw the performance level just go through the roof as we see Kyle Vaj on his backhand here. Nice slashing opening turn as he's going to try to generate speed and gets up vertical but comes unstuck in the lip again. Unfortunate mistake for Kyle Vaj there on his second closeout. He's still got one to go. Looks a little frustrated there. He'll be hoping to improve on that for his third closeout. He's currently in the lead in this heat. He has a total heat score total with the left and the right combined of 13.8. That might change if he gets a great score, obviously, in his closeout. We'll wait to see what happens here. Meanwhile, Dylan with an 8.9. He'll be wanting a really strong score in these closeouts. So here is the Turtle Bay replay of Kyle Vaj's last wave. Let's see if that was a good choice for him to go on his backhand.
So you see him going for the crossbow turn on his first turn. That was very nice, and then trying to get some speed and just timed that one a little bit wrong and came unstuck. So a lot of pressure on him going into his third closeout to try and get a score that will go into a score line currently with 2 incomplete waves. So Kyle putting a little pressure on himself on the closeouts, but he's in a good position with his left and his right. He'll need to definitely land a maneuver on the closeout.
So something for all athletes to remember during today is that you're not just surfing against your fellow man in the heat, you are surfing against everyone. So you are looking to post the highest scores possible. There's no easy heats because it's almost like one complete heat. So everybody has to be on their top game. They're looking for the highest scores possible to move directly through to round 3 and have a seeding advantage. So that is the strategy today. It's as much pressure now, I would say, as there is in the semifinals, because everybody needs to get through this next heat, and you can't rely on good luck and seeding as much as you can potentially in other contests.
And you want to make it through as many rounds as you can just to be able to surf again, because it's a lot of fun out there. Dylan getting ready for his second closeout wave, setting up throwing spray on his first turn, getting prepared nice and low. That time got up to the lip, and we saw his fin, so perhaps a little better scoring than his first wave.
Yeah, I'd say so. He got right up into the lip there and sort of hopped over the section. But so a good second wave from Dylan Frick. We'll wait to see what the judges score that as. Kyle Vaj heading out for his last closeout before we go back into heat number 2 with Lucas Medeiros and Kieran Taylor.
We've got a full day of action with 16 heats going on today as we watch the replay of Dylan Frick's wave from South Africa. And you can see on this first turn, he doesn't quite cut back as far, stays in front of the wave, generating speed, throwing some spray and fins, and he'll be stoked with that second wave.
His timing was definitely on there for that wave. Let's see what the judges come back with. He really navigated the wave well. As you see, a setback shot of Wadi Adventure. What an incredible backdrop there is here with just the desert mountain behind. Just middle of the desert, but yet a blue oasis where we are at Wadi Adventure Park here in the UAE.
I can dare say that many of the competitors here would have never thought that they would be surfing in the middle of the desert. So, you know, no matter how you do in this contest, this is one of those events that will stay with you forever. How many opportunities do you have to surf waves in the middle of the desert? And good waves as well. These are definitely high performance waves where the surfers can display their full variety and arsenal of maneuvers.
So we see Kyle Vaj now. He knows the wave's coming. This is his last closeout wave. We're waiting to see what he can get on this. He needs a good score. He's had 2 incompletes, so he'll be wanting to get a complete wave on this. Driving off the bottom. Nice opening turn there, but he's looking for something big here. Oh, really throws the fins free. Made up for that. That was a great complete wave. We'll see what that comes out as we have a score update from that last exchange. So the second wave from each of the riders, Kyle getting a 3.9 on that last incomplete, and Dylan getting a 4.6 on his last wave. So Dylan's still leading the closeout sections, but Kyle really posting a great wave there.
Yeah, he definitely did not hold back on his closeout maneuver. Went very big, and that's what's going to get you into the later rounds. Is even though there's a lot of pressure on him with his 2 incomplete waves, he didn't hold back at all.
And here we have the Turtle Bay replay of that last wave of Kyle's. Let's watch this in more detail here. As he drives off the bottom, nice bottom turn, and coming right back into the power source as he sets up for this, throws the tail free, gets the fins out, and a really cleanly executed turn. So the judges, I think, will like that. Let's see what that comes in as, because that was the last wave of number 1 for Kyle Vaj. As Dylan Frick prepares for his last closeout, we have those last scores again. A 3.9 from wave number 2 of Kyle Vaj. We're waiting for that last wave to drop. And a 4.6 for Dylan Frick as he waits for his last closeout.
So Kyle is finished for his first heat of the day. He'll wait and see the remainder of the scores. And with 3 high-scoring waves, I think he's in a good spot to be one of the top 12 competitors to go straight into the 3rd round. As you see some skateboarding going on, surfers warming up by riding on the skateboard. Got some shade and plenty of lounge chairs for the competitors. Dylan Frick, starboard rider from South Africa, up and riding on his forehand. Staying nice and high on that wave, cutting back into the white water. Coming off the bottom, off the top, and off his board.
So unfortunately coming out unstuck there, Dylan Frick, but we do have news for you on that last wave of Kyle Vaj. Posted as the highest scoring wave of the contest so far, an 8-point ride for Kyle Vaj. So Kyle Vaj, your last wave was an 8, and that was your best wave, meaning that your counting scores from your first heat are a 6 from the lefts, a 7.8 from the rights, and an 8 from the closeout. So that's a pretty strong scoreline for Kyle Vaj to open it as we go to the Turtle Bay replay for Dylan Frick.
You see Dylan taking off and choosing the high line on his cutback. Has great control going into his second turn. And it's just such a tough wave to read, and you really want to be aggressive, and he just went for whatever he could throw up there on the whitewater and coming a little bit unstuck.
Yeah, I really liked his opening turn. Unfortunately, just a little bit late for that second turn. Just mistimed it slightly and, coming unstuck. But great performance there from Kyle Vaj, our current ratings leader, number 2 in the world in 2013. He has on his scoreline a 6, a 7.8, and an 8-point ride. So an impressive performance from Kyle Vaj. Dylan, we're waiting for your last wave score to drop. So we really raised the eyebrows in 2013 with the first edition of the Abu Dhabi All-Stars, bringing competitive surfing to the Middle East with the Stand Up World Tour. It was an exhibition event last year, but due to popular demand, we made it an official event on this year's Stand Up World Tour as we see the top 32 coming over here to the UAE for a pretty amazing showdown of both the surfing here at Wadi Adventure and the racing to take place at Yas Marina later in the week, but also the Abu Dhabi Sailing and Yacht Club. As we see the first closeout of heat number 2, it is Lucas Medeiros of Brazil. Getting a little stuck on that first turn, but getting vertical up into the lip, but not that much speed. I think he lost speed on that first top turn and then was unable to get the projection he needed to come out from that turn. So he'll be looking for 2 better waves still on the closeout part. At the moment, he is leading this exchange. As I said, it's not really an exchange because it's against everyone, but he's got a 5.7 and a 6.2, which is a very respectable scoreline for his lefts and rights. As Kyle is showing him the way there with his arm, he's saying power and flow, I'm sure.
He's saying, do what I did, you'll get an 8. As we watch Lucas on the Turtle Bay replay. Goofy footer taking off on his backhand, going for the cross bow turn, and you can see just a little bit of a bog there. Didn't quite have enough speed to get all the way up to the top and hit the lip on that one, which you need to push you back in front of the wave. So
seemed like he didn't quite have his footing right, and he tried to adjust his weight on the border, but it lost him some vital speed right at the moment he needed it. Not able to project up into the lip as he wanted. As we see Kieran Taylor in yellow, this is heat number 2. This is the final segment of waves for these guys. So heat number 2, Kieran Taylor waiting for his opening closeout.
So these surfers get 9 waves, and if you miss a wave, that counts. So there's a lot of pressure to catch each and every wave in your heat. 3 lefts, 3 rights, and 3 closeouts. We'll take the top score from each of the waves. So there will be your top left, your top right, your top closeouts, and then we'll take your top 2 scores from those 3 to give you your overall heat score. As Kieran Taylor takes off on his forehand going into the closeout, little Huntington hop there, fading into this next turn. And I think he knew that that one wasn't going to be his high-scoring wave and just falling off on his closeout maneuver.
So there we have official results from that last heat. Kyle Vaj keeping a 7.8 and an 8. So he dropped his worst score of a 6, which was the left, and he's keeping his right and his closeout score, which is 7.8 and an 8. So Kyle Vaj got a pretty strong scoreline there. Meanwhile, Dylan Frick is dropping his left as well, which was a 2.5, so that gets pushed out, and he has a 6.4 and a 4.6. So he obviously likes the digits 4 and 6, but he has a 6.4 and a 4.6. That will be what he's carrying through. So the heat score totals are 15.8 for Kyle Vaj. That's his scoreline that gets put forward, and for Dylan Frick it is 11.0. So 2 respectable scores there. Kyle obviously in a good position after his first heat. Let's see how this day progresses.
And now they both play the waiting game to see the scores from all of the other competitors. So they get to relax and enjoy some of the wonderful food that they're serving us here and watch the rest of the heats. We've got 32 of the top stand-up paddle surfers in the world. And tomorrow we will get started with the women's division. There's 12 women here. As Lucas Medeiros in blue, preparing for his second closeout wave. So Lucas going on his backhand for the closeout. So again, we were talking earlier, and the Brazilians do some very, very aggressive backhand surfing. As he takes off, fading into the wall, and nice check turn, setting up for something big, coming off the bottom with a lot of speed and going vertical on that one and completing it with a lot of control.
Yeah, definitely. That was a much better wave there for Lucas Medeiros. Nice opening turn, kept him up high on the wave, which allowed him to have the speed he needed to go up and do his 12 o'clock turn. It seemed like the wave didn't punch him back as much as he probably would have liked, so he was a little bit slow coming down, which will probably be a factor for the judges as opposed to the really perfect timing where you go up vertical and you get pushed right back in front of the wave. But we'll wait to see how the judges score that, as once again team trainer Kyle Vaj showing him how it's done. Meanwhile, Kieran Taylor heading out for this is their second closeout, right?
Yes, their second of 3, and then we will switch the pool back to the lefts, and we'll get ready for heat number 3, which will feature Giorgio Gomez from the United States, coming off a great event in Brazil, and Eric Terrien, ET from France, showing his surfing skills. And we'll take a look at Lucas's closeout wave that he just got, choosing to go on his backhand, and just a nice check turn to stay up high on the wave. Good bottom turn, but like you said, Tristan was a little bit slow coming back down from his turn. So
we have a lot of action here to come as Anthony Anthony said there, we have Giorgio Gomez and Eric Terrien from France coming up in the next heat. But after that, as we will have two heats kind of alternating in the water, we will have Poinaiki Raioha from Tahiti and Remy Keek from France, resident also in Brazil actually, but he is a Brazilian resident now. But Poinaiki has been a standout on the World Tour. As we see, we'll switch to the action, live action. This is Kieran Taylor. Nice opening turn there. Really making the most of that closeout section. His timing was definitely on for that closing section, as he was able to get more projection from the wave. Let's see how the judges score those turns. So Kieran Taylor in yellow with his all-star jersey there.
Yeah, Kieran even went for the bonus little fun third maneuver, and that's more just for fun, just to show the judges, yeah, I'm in control, but all the points are out the back on the first two turns. So you'll start seeing it as the competitors get more confident with this wave. The combination of first to second turn is going to get a little bit more aggressive. So obviously the closeout maneuver, you can go big, but the people that are going to score in the excellent range will have a very aggressive first turn, followed by a smooth transition into a closeout maneuver. So Lucas sticking with the rights. Kieran also liking the right on this closeout. Maybe it has to do with the wind direction. This wind would be coming out of the northeast. Just getting some info from Bant Rodiger about the wind here. So Lucas Medeiros from Brazil in his blue jersey, preparing for his third closeout maneuver. That will complete Lucas's heat after this wave. Lucas just circling, trying to stay in position on the takeoff zone as he prepares for his wave. Fading, staying high on the wave, setting up for something big. Coming off the top, very similar to his previous wave, so we'll see what the judges think about that. Lucas will then go and talk to his teammates and, how was that, guys? How was that? Really fun after each wave. This is a very unique event where you get to discuss with your friends and your teammates the body positioning, the torque, and what went right and what went wrong in order to maximize the scoring potential on each wave. And again, these are competitors competing against each other, but also very good friends giving each other advice. So you see the camaraderie here on tour, not just between countrymen and teammates, but everyone's out there helping each other. As you see a beautiful shot of our backdrop here. Looks like something out of a postcard. Here at Wadi Adventure. Thanks to Mike, who's been helping us out all week, dealing with all of the competitors, wanting to get as many waves as possible. But waves only come every 90 seconds, so there are only a certain amount of waves each day. Kieran Taylor getting set for his last closeout wave as he fades into the pocket. Nice paddle transfer, staying low, pumping off the bottom. And again, going for that little bonus maneuver. Very nice closeout turn by Kieran. So we'll wait for his scores as we prepare for the next set of heats. Heats number 1 and 2. We'll get you scores as soon as we can. So heat number 3, round 1, we'll see Giorgio Gomez in blue, Eric Terrien from France in yellow. Eric, one of the Big Sup team riders. Big Sup, one of our sponsors for the Stand Up World Tour. Eric, traditionally known as a very, very accomplished racer, here to show his surfing skills as well. And again, going to a shot with all the guys and girls hanging out down there. You got James Casey getting ready, having a chat with Mo. Yep, we see him over there. Yeah, guys, wave to the camera. And Zane was barreled all day yesterday. You got Casper down there. You got Bant, Hairflick, Rodiger down there. Bant coming off a win in Santa Cruz. Casper Steinfath. Incredible racer and ripper as well, Nash team rider. Everyone's having a good time. And we'll have a transition wave that'll come through, and then we'll see some of our surfers that are just enjoying themselves. That first wave will not count, and then we get into Giorgio Gomez, followed by Eric Terrien. And then heat 4, we've got Hoi Nike Rioja from Tahiti in blue, and Remy Keek from Italy. From France, excuse me, Remy. Remy Keek from France. So we've got 2 French competitors in these next couple of heats. See Nicole Pacelli showing Lucas his waves. Yeah, see here, Lucas, this is where you should have done a humongous air. So again, a very unique event in that there's plenty of time in between waves to not only look at the actual video of the wave, but talk with your fellow competitors on how to make it a little bit more appealing to the judges. They want to see speed, power, and flow, but also commitment in each of your turns. You're only going to get 2 or 3 turns, as we see a couple of guys sharing this wave that does not count. We got Kai Bates, also Jan Vaj, I think. Look at the boys just having fun.
Sharing is caring there for Kai Bates and Jan Vaj. They both got smiles on their faces, so it doesn't look like a combat situation. Kai Bates, one of the new faces from Australia on the Stand Up World Tour. Always laughing, always smiling. He's a great personality and a great surfer. He's really improved leaps and bounds. And his performance level has gone through the roof. He's been putting on some great results too. So really great to see Kai making his presence felt on the Stand Up World Tour.
Yeah, that event in France, he had some really, really great waves down there. I remember had a high scoring wave in order to advance in, I believe, the quarterfinals. So we're stoked to have you, Kai, but you did get a triangle on that wave that didn't count. So
there we see Jan and Kyle. So Kai. Kai Bates riding for Fnatic. Jan for Art and Surf, so 2 of the Stand Up World Tour patrons. Great to see both those brands represented here in the Middle East. As we see out on the water, this is rider in blue. It's Giorgio Gomez. He was ripping this morning. Actually, I saw him get a pretty explosive first wave. He had a great event in Brazil as well. Had one of the highlight heats at the event against Chiahidi Aboitz, as they were both battling out with some of the more progressive surfing we have seen on tour, both throwing air reverses, aerials, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, Giorgio is really stepping up his stand-up paddle surfing, an accomplished shortboarder and starboard team rider
up and paddling for his first wave in the Abu Dhabi All-Stars. Giorgio on his forehand, throwing some spray and tail on that first wave, paddle transfer cutback into the whitewater, getting some speed, just catching a little bit of a rail. He'll be stoked with his first couple of turns. Giorgio Gomez, his first left of the contest. We're still awaiting scores from Lucas and Kieran for that second heat. I'll give you those as soon as we get them. So you see a shot, we're trying to find some billy goats up there. There's billy goats up in the mountains that are quite nimble, to be honest. We'll take a look at the Turtle Bay replay of Giorgio Gomez's first wave. Giorgio, goofy footer, taking off. You'll see him step back onto the tail to throw some spray, and you'll see the extension on his back foot. Sliding his fins again, using his paddle to pump down the line, and then just catching his front rail. But he did his work out the back with his first two turns. As we have scores from Lucas. Lucas, your highest closeout was your second wave with a 5.5. Yellow, Kieran, yours was a 4.3 for your second wave. So Lucas is going to drop his closeout, his low score of a 5.5. He will keep his left and his right. We'll get back to the scores as we watch live action with Eric Tarian. Eric with a nice cross bow turn, paddle transfer, sliding his paddle to get into his second turn. You can see his big sup board working well on these small waves. And Eric will jump off that one, opening up his account.
So that was definitely a very respectable wave there. Opening wave by Eric Tarian. Great performance pour tous les Français en ligne. C'est un plaisir d'avoir la représentation française ici. Eric, toujours connu pour sa, je sais pas comment on dit ça en français, his strength, sa valeur dans la race, mais c'est super de le voir dans les vagues aussi, comme on voit le Turtle Bay replay là maintenant pour voir la dernière vague de Eric Tarian. Belle gauche, bien sûr. Beau turn pour commencer la vague. Fait un beau cutback. Donc il maîtrise bien cette vague. On va voir qu'est-ce que ça donne pour les juges. So Eric Tarian, great first wave, posting a score there. As we come back to those final standings from heat number 2. So Lucas Medeiros dropping his closeout wave. That was his worst wave. It was a 5.5 was his highest score for the closeouts. So he'll be keeping his top left scoring wave and top right scoring wave, which is a 5.7 and a 6.2. So that gives him an overall heat score total of 11.9. Kieran, you drop your right hand wave, which was a 3.9 was the highest scoring right. So you'll keep your left and your closeout. So you have a 4.6 and a 4.3, giving you an overall heat score total of 8.7. So Kieran Taylor with an 8.7, Lucas with 11.9. So those will be your score lines as we do the final calculations at the end of round 1. And we see Ryder in blue.
Giorgio Gomez up and riding, getting really aggressive on that turn, getting a little caught behind, having to use his paddle to catch back up with the wave, throwing tail on that second turn, a little mini air, pumping down the line, going for some sort of maneuver in the 2-inch deep water.
So that was a really nice opening turn. We'll wait for the Turtle Bay replay there to watch that in detail, but he really put everything into that opening turn, which is smart, especially with these left-handers. They don't offer too much scoring potential down the line, or as nearly as much as that first opening turn. So we'll see how the judges like that and score that.
Can we get this from the model? There's Giorgio with a nice angle here. You can see he got a little bit caught behind, but managed to use his paddle to get back in. And then that second turn was very aggressive, using his paddle again. Nice shot of his hair flowing. So Giorgio Gomez getting jiggy with it on that one. As we see Eric Tarian in yellow. Eric's
spends a lot of time over in Hawaii on Molokai as well. Eric loves to surf anything. He's an accomplished steersman doing a lot of canoe surfing. Likes to surf his race board in big waves, and we're stoked to have Eric in the surfing portion of the Abu Dhabi All-Stars. He will also be a force to be reckoned with in the race in a few days. So here's Eric on wave number 2. So he's on his backhand, going up to the top, nice. Cross bow paddle transfer turn, cutting back into the white water, staying ahead of the wave. And that one was a little bit of a funky turn, but manages to ride out of it. So Eric with 2 complete waves. You see him in his nice Victory Core Dry jersey. So thanks Victory for providing all of the jerseys for the Stand Up World Tour from the beginning.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that, Anthony. Victory Core Dry, being a part of the World Tour since 2010. Mark Scudellaria, a great guy. As we actually will go to the Turtle Bay replay of that last wave. This is Eric Terrien on a left again. Let's see what he's got here. So nice driving bottom turn there, right up into the lip, nice open turn. Cuts right back into the white water, stays nice and high so he can get that extra turn. Quite similar actually to his first wave. I think the first turn might have been even a little better for Eric there. The next turn's maybe not quite as good. We'll see how those go once we get the scores through here. So big thank you to all our crew, from obviously our live webcast crew bringing you the action live, but also our team of international judges from Brazil, France, Australia, Hawaii. We have a really strong crew of really experienced judges making sure that the quality of surfing is addressed and that the athletes have the right scores that they deserve.
Yes, thank you to the judges as always. These contests would not happen without a solid judging crew, and they're ready to watch Giorgio's third wave taking off deep on this one.
So again, going for that slashing opening turn, and a nice wrapping turn, throws the tail out there, sliding backwards. That was a really nice show of style and control there from Giorgio Gomez. Coming unstuck on the punctuation mark at the end, but that's not altogether a problem. He's got a smile on his face. Nice little close for Giorgio Gomez, giving Anthony the hair shake that he was looking for. So yeah, nice opening 2 turns there for Anthony Vella.
Yeah, you see Giorgio showing some variety in his surfing. That second turn going with the cross bow cut back, and then sliding the fins as he hit the white water. That was very nice. So Giorgio finishing his 3 lefts will get you the highest score when we can. We'll show a Turtle Bay replay. See Giorgio looking back as the wave approaches. Fades in towards the wall. You can see his back foot repositioning, extending it on that turn. Then going with a cross bow, cut back into a paddle transfer, showing some great paddle work. And then a fun little 360. Maddie Schweitzer talking to Giorgio. Maddie helping out all the starboard team riders. Yeah, Mo Freitas giving Giorgio a high five. Oh, there's Giorgio going to watch the clips. Brandy Brady taking photos and video of all the competitors, so she's been hard at work, just as the surfers have been. As Eric Terrien prepares for his 3rd left. So Eric's on his backhand. Oh, that was a nice bottom turn. Perhaps went a little bit too much off the bottom and is not able to complete his top turn. So that'll complete the lefts for Eric Terrien, and we'll move into the lefts for heat number 4, which features Hoi Nike Rioja from Tahiti, just a youngster at 16 years of age, I believe, or may have turned 17. And we also have Remy Keek in yellow from France.
So an impressive lineup of athletes here as we go to an athlete replay, or a Turtle Bay replay, I apologize, again, of Eric Terrien there of his last wave here. So
getting a little caught up there in the lip, coming unstuck. A nice driving bottom turn. He chose to stall it a little more and try and get a more vertical turn there, but got a little stuck in the lip and dropped out the back. As we will see our next heat heading out here. Poenaiki Raioha is definitely one of the tips for the future, the hot tips for the future. He is an incredible athlete. He got second in his first event down in Tahiti at the Sapinus Pro back in 2012. He then came to Sunset and turned heads again in 2013 and finished in the final, finishing in 4th place. Just a phenomenal performance from the young talent. And then again this year, he was back in Sunset and he again put on a performance to remember. I think he finished in 5th place. So what a future this young Tahitian athlete has in store for himself. And I'm looking forward to seeing him in the pool because he's so adaptable. He's such a versatile surfer, whether it's big, small. As we see him taking to his first left here, right in blue, Poenaiki Raioha.
Poenaiki coming off the bottom, nice, low and compact. You can see his fins on his bottom turn. That second turn, very aggressive. Coming off the top of his 3rd turn, going very fast on this wave, managing to get in a 4th turn. He had a lot of speed on that wave, Tristan.
You know what? He looked a little more caught up on his first turn, but his second turn was so crisp and fast, it just accelerated it in to get another 2 quick, sharp turns. So some great surfing there from the young Tahitian. Pour tous les Tahitiens en ligne, Poenaiki Raioha, une belle première vague. On attend les scores.
Bien surfing. I was talking with Poenaiki. He taught me some French yesterday. Bien surfing.
Bon surfing.
Bon surfing. So here we watch a replay. Poenaiki on his F1 board, F1, one of our sponsors. Again, into that whitewater was a little bit slow, but then manages to speed up very quickly. His transition from turn 2 to 3 was very nice, and then manages to get the little exclamation point at the end.
Yeah, I really love that second turn. Like you said, a little caught up on the first turn, but the second turn so crisp. And then those 2 little vertical foam climbs, making it a very complete wave for the young Tahitian. We have final scores for the lefts for heat number 3. So Giorgio Gomez, your high score from your lefts is a 6.13. 6.13 for Giorgio Gomez. Eric Terrien, your counting left is a 3.5. So that is as it stands. Blue, Giorgio Gomez with a 6.13 for your best left, and Eric a 3.5 for your best left.
As we see Remy in yellow on his first wave, also an F1 rider, so these guys are up against each other, but against everyone as well. So Remy on his second turn, nice 3rd turn, just pumping down the line, just getting his feet wet on this first wave. Nothing too aggressive, but you really want to start building on your score and make sure that you make every wave count.
and stacked starboard teams as we see Poinaiki Raioha.
Poinaiki, a stylish surfer as well. He's liking that cutback. Ooh, throws the fin on that cutback, hitting the white water. Nice paddle transfer and cross bow turn, getting some speed. The way he throws that board up on his backside just makes it look so easy.
Just really crisp surfing from Poinaiki. He's starting to grow up. You can see he's looking more like a man these days rather than the little kid he was when he was the first year at Sunset. But still I think he might have just turned 17 now. He's still a little bit like the Mo Freitas, where you feel like he's been 16 for about 10 years. Slater Trout had that same syndrome as well, I think. But he's an impressive young man.
Yeah, I definitely want to learn French just so I can speak and have conversations with this kid, because just one of the nicest kids you'll meet in a great family as you see him Turtle Bay replay of his wave run us through this twist.
A real nice turn right up into the lip there, throws the tail free, but comes up for another crisp, real sharp turn. He generates so much speed through his turn as then it accelerates in to get up vert into those two foam climbs. So great performance from Poinaiki. J'imagine que sa famille à Tahiti sont en train de le regarder en ligne. Donc salut de tout le monde ici Stand-Up World Tour à Abu Dhabi All Stars.
We see a shot of our lifeguards down there, keeping the cameramen with some shade so they can get the shots from all the different angles. So thanks to all the staff from Wadi Adventure that have been helping out all week and keeping the competitors, keeping everyone happy.
So we apologize for the short outage of audio we had there for a second. We are now 100% back up and running with the audio. So as we see Remy Key, there's a good set coming through here. As he drops in, generating speed. Nice wrapping turn. Definitely a nice opening turn for Remy there. And another there. Back up into the white water. So very respectable turn again from Remy. We have scores, you guys. So the first wave of 0.7 Nike, you keep a 7.7. Your last wave was a 6.1. So your counting wave for the lefts is a 7.7. Remy, you have a 3.5 for your first wave, a 4.2 for your second wave, and we'll wait for that last score to drop. That was definitely a nice wave, so we'll see how that comes in. But at the moment, your high score is a 4.2. We'll wait for that last score to drop to see where that lies. So we see Remy making his way up the beach here. Stellar performance in that first round of waves. In the three lefts, he's getting a high score of a 7.7 that will go down to his scoreline. So great performance from the young Tahitian.
And just want to give a congratulations to me. He's a proud new father, so congratulations on your newborn son. Whitewater, then showing his paddle work on his next couple of turns, and finishing off.
So good, great responsive surfing there from Remy Key, because we see Dylan Frick, the South African, communicating with Poinaiki Raioha. I wonder if Dylan speaks French.
Looked like a very short conversation, so yeah, Poinaiki.
So Poinaiki, tu as eu un 7.7 comme un high score pour 7.7 pour Poinaiki Raioha. Il attend pour les droites pour avancer encore plus, mais 7.7 pour Poinaiki Remy. Pour le moment, il a un 4.2. On attend le dernier score de Remy Kik.
Remy rehydrating. You can see how hard he was breathing. It's not easy surfing these waves. And there's a shot of myself, Anthony Vela, with Tristan Boxford. We're bringing you the live play-by-play.
It's great to be here in Abu Dhabi again. Such a welcoming place here in Abu Dhabi, right?
It's beautiful, and everyone's been so very nice and hospitable for us, and I for sure want to come back next year for the event, but I want to come and just surf this pool as well.
No, exactly. It's a great place to come visit, a great place to come surf, and as well as race. I mean, you couldn't think of a better environment to go stand up paddling than the warm waters of the UAE. It's hot all year round. Certainly probably won't be paddling at midday because it definitely gets hot out here, but in the mornings and the evenings during the summertime it is great paddling, and during the wintertime it's an all-day affair. So it is an amazing place to come visit. We'd like to say a big thank you to Sheikh Ahmed for his amazing support of this incredible event, but also our great friend Tim
from the ESSA, really making this happen, and Renier from the Abu Dhabi Sailing and Yacht Club. We're excited to have you guys involved. We're excited to be here for the Abu Dhabi All-Stars. It is going to be a great event, and it's already being a great event.
Gotten through our first 2 heats have been completed, and we are now on setting up for the right-hand waves for heats number 3 and 4, as we see Mo Freitas preparing for one of the transition waves. So you can see the buoyancy, lack of buoyancy in the water, as Mo always riding the edge of these small boards. So Mo just having fun out there. This is a wave, does not count. You can see.
Yeah, it was interesting. Actually, I took a visit to Pat Wilson's board shaping room with Mo just before coming over here, and I saw that board he was riding. It's a really interesting shape, a little more buoyant than the other boards. Pat's one of the more shapers that you'll ever meet in your life. He really thinks of every scenario, and he was thinking about the buoyancy of the water, and that's what he was talking to us about a lot. That you need a slightly different kind of board for this kind of water, because you're so used to floating so much in the salt water and in the pool. It's a different scenario. You need something light and corky that's really going to, allow you to keep out of the water and drive your turns. But we saw Mo Freitas having no problem in driving that roundhouse turn. He's definitely a name to watch out for. Focus SUP rider Mo Freitas from Hawaii.
Mo just skipping back up, enjoying getting wet.
So we have final scores. Remy, your last wave was a 4.2. Your last wave was a 4.2. So your counting wave is a 4.2 to your scoreline. Poinaiki has a 7.7. Like I said, it's not man on man in this round. It is everybody against everybody. The highest scores will advance. So as it stands now, the scoreline has 7.7 for Poinaiki, 4.2 for Remy. Donc 7.7 pour Poinaiki Raioha et Remy Kik un 4.2 qui va compter résultat final de cette série. Donc on attend les droites. On a vu Mo Freitas qui a pris une droite, une vague de transition. Et maintenant on commence en vrai avec Giorgio Gomez de Floride. So we got Giorgio Gomez from Florida taking off now. There we see him cutting back, opening up the turn there. Nice slashing turn there. That second turn definitely nice, and getting right up into the lip for his third turn. And another quick foam climb there, but definitely the second and third turn being the better turns there. We'll wait to see what the judges come back with.
It's interesting how the wind plays a little bit of a factor on obviously the surface tension of each of the waves. The right appears to be a little bit offshore, whereas the left, there's a little bit of wind hitting it, so making it a little bit different, even though each wave is the same. As we see Giorgio going back to get the scoop from Matty on his wave that he just caught.
I believe Matty Schweitz, starboard team captain, giving some advice to his team member. Definitely a tight crew, the starboard crew, as we get a replay of Giorgio's first right. So he's on his backhand here. Nice opening turn there. Setting up for this. Slashing turn there. And right up into the lip for that third turn. So a well-surfed wave there from Giorgio Gomez. I doubt that it's in the excellent range, but it's definitely a solid wave for him. We'll wait to see what the judges come back with.
Showing a lot of paddle work on that last wave. I think he transferred positions many times. You see Daniel Hughes taking a little snooze down there.
So always smiling Giorgio Gomez, together with his sister Izzy Gomez, two great talents on Stand-Up World Tours. We got to live action. This is Eric Terrien on his first ride.
So Eric with a nice off the bottom, off the top combination. Eric showing some paddle work as well. He's on a little bit bigger board to compensate for the buoyancy, and doing very well on that wave.
Seems like it's an interesting shape, that Bic SUP. It's a little longer, it seems, but narrower. So he's preferring to go narrower to be able to do more critical turns, but got a little bit more length. So it's an interesting choice there. A lot of the riders going shorter and wider. We'll see how this pans out for the young Frenchman, or not so young Frenchman, but he's medium-aged Frenchman, I would say. Eric Terrien from France. He's a great talent, especially in the racing, where he has been a dominant force and a great European representative for the world
of racing. Excited to have him here at the Stand Up World Tour like we did in Brazil, as Giorgio Gomez heads out for his next wave.
So Giorgio, just a youngster at 19 years old, 18 years old, debuted at Sunset Beach last year, making his way through the trials and into the quarters, I believe, showing his big wave skills, being from the small waves in Florida. But Giorgio and Izzy have both been in many competitions for shortboarding around the world, so although he is new to stand-up paddle surfing, he is quite an accomplished and seasoned competitor.
So it's interesting to see the talent pool coming from Florida. Obviously in surfing, the name that comes to your mind is Kelly Slater, of course, but Sean Pointer growing up in Florida as well, so the stand-up world is no different. We see Giorgio Gomez taking off on this one, right on the wall there, on his backhand. Nice driving bottom turn, slashing top turn there as he sets up for his next turn. Another great turn, and he will try get us up into the lip there. So the first two turns really doing the business there, but I would say that was an improvement on his first wave, but we'll have to see what that comes in as. Giorgio, your first wave came in at a 6.5. We'll wait for the next score on this next wave, but a 6.5 for your first wave. Eric Terrien, your first wave was a 3.9. Eric, tu as eu un 3.9 pour ta première vague, donc Eric, un 3.9 pour ta première vague.
And you'll see not only the timing of surfing the waves is important, but the timing of jumping off at the end is very important as well, as the waves are very shallow at the end. We're watching a Turtle Bay replay of Giorgio on his backhand. Almost nosedive there, but managed to pull it out and having a very aggressive first turn, using his paddle throwing spray on that second turn. Very powerful, pumping down the line for a finishing maneuver. His second turn there was very aggressive.
You know, Anthony, it's going to be interesting to compare the scores from Giorgio's first and second waves, because in my opinion, those first two turns were better, or certainly the first turn was better. The last turn was less good than the last turn on his first wave. So it'll be interesting to see. I would hazard to say the second wave would be a higher score, but he already has a pretty strong score on that first wave with a 6.5. Let's see how the judges come back on that one.
As he's having a chat with his flatmates, Kai Bates and James Casey, you see Kai, you see his hand position saying, "Why didn't you do an air 360?" as Eric Terrien takes off.
Interesting evaluation there from Anthony Veller. A nice opening turn for Eric Terrien in yellow. Big SUP rider. So a solid wave from Eric, really in the power source of the wave, making the most of every moment of that wave. So Eric, a great all-rounder, surfer and racer, showing his medal here in Abu Dhabi. So we do have a scoring update for you. Giorgio Gomez, your last wave was a 6.6. So I'm quite glad to hear that, because I think my evaluation was about right. So I'm not about to become a judge, but 6.6 for Giorgio Gomez, his last wave. So that improves. That'll be a better position for him, as we have a Turtle Bay replay of Eric Terrien. Nice opening. He's got a nice driving bottom turn, Eric. And a nice slashing second turn there. Little wobble through there, but gets set up for his third turn. But he lays back into the whitewater there. So a nice wave from Eric Terrien. His first wave was a 3.9. We're waiting for that wave to drop. So that wave, Eric, 3.6. So 3.6 for Eric Terrien's last wave. So his first wave was deemed superior than that wave. So he'll, at the moment, stay with that first wave score. Giorgio Gomez slightly improving on his position with a 6.6 compared to his first wave with a 6.5.
Giorgio showing his consistency with his first two waves, 6.5 and a 6.6 on the right. So he's got two solid scores. So we're looking to see Giorgio go big on his third and last right wave.
So definitely building momentum in the seat. This is Giorgio Gomez right on the wall. Just redefining his paint job on his starboard SUP. Nice opening turn there.
Cutting back into the whitewater as he sets up for this section. Nice slashing top turn there. Gets a little caught in the whitewater, but we'll see how that changes his scoreline, if it does at all. So sister Izzy Gomez shooting her brother, making sure that she captures all the action as we are here at the Abu Dhabi All-Stars. There we get a glimpse of our partners here, ESSA, the stand-up paddle and surf organization for the United Arab Emirates, doing a great job at creating uniformity here in the UAE, creating the groundworks for the future of the sport, or the foundations of the future of the sport in the UAE. As we see a replay of Giorgio Gomez's wave, his first turn was really nice, slashing turn there, and then he goes for a cut back into the white water. And a closing turn there for Giorgio Gomez.
Ending that wave with a smile. What great footage our camera crew is getting. So thanks to all the guys bringing the different angles so that we can showcase the surfing of these incredible athletes. 32 competitors in round number 1. They will be vying for the top 12 spots to advance directly into round 3. The remaining competitors will go into a repecharge round of 20. For each competitor, we're only going to surf the closeouts for the repecharge, and 4 will advance to meet the other 12 for the quarterfinals of 16 as Eric Tarian takes off in yellow. Eric coming off the bottom, off the top, laying back and falling off the back of that wave, so that will not go into his scoring line. And again, just so fun to watch these guys really fine-tuning each of their waves. So all the crews have their cameramen, as Matty Schweitzer was taking Giorgio through his last couple of waves. Last of Giorgio's was a 5.9, so his 6.6 will be his highest scoring right. As we'll see Eric's wave, it's tough to read the bottom turn, so you'll see some of the guys come off the bottom and actually lose a bit of speed as they go up to the top. There's a shot of Eric walking up the beach in his yellow jersey. Well done, Eric. So they'll prepare for their 3 closeouts, as we have Poinike Rioja from Tahiti and Remy Keith from France in this next heat that will be surfing the rights. So Poinike in blue. Poinike, our lone representative from Tahiti at this event. It's really great to see him on tour at all of the events. Poinike with great style in both big waves and small waves as we watch him on a wave pool wave on his forehand. Oh, releasing the fins, throwing spray on turn 1. Nice off the bottom, off the top combination, but a little bit behind that one. Poinike will get ready for his next wave as we see Remy preparing to paddle out. So it's kind of fun for these guys, the 2 F1 competitors, to be surfing in the same heat. They're not necessarily surfing against each other because all of the scores will go against each other. As we have a Turtle Bay replay, here's Poinike dropping in. That first turn was beautiful, sets up nicely. Just coming off the top, trying to be a little too aggressive and doesn't manage to ride out of it. See a shot of our pool there. What a beautiful location for stop number 3 of the Stand Up World Tour. You can follow us on Instagram at Stand Up World Tour. Also Stand Up World Series at Stand Up World Series. We'll be giving updates throughout the day on Facebook at like us at the Stand Up World Tour on Facebook, also Stand Up World Series. Poi Nike's last wave was a 3. Poi Nike, your last wave, 3. That's a beautiful shot of how you approach the takeoff. We see Remy fading into this one, staying nice and low. Turn back into the white water using the speed, throwing spray off the top, setting up for another bottom turn. And coming down with the white water, diving off into the shallows. So it always feels good to complete your first ride of the 3, and then you can continue to build your score. So we will go back to Poi Nike Rioja in blue. Let's take a look at this one. See Remy staying nice and low, bending his knees, cutting back into the white water, putting it on rail. See all of his spins on that bottom turn. That was kind of a check turn, and then finishing it off. So great shot of our wave pool here at Wadi Adventure. So this is wave number 2 coming up for the rights for Poi Nike. You see him spin and turn for his wave. Poi Nike fading back into the wall with a double pump bottom turn. Oh, beautiful sweeping cross-bow cutback. And throwing his fins on that turn, laying it back. Whoa, that third turn was I don't know what happened on that bottom turn. That was beautiful. So Poi Nike throwing some variety on that wave. Remy, your previous wave was a 3.5, so your opening right was a 3.5. I can't wait to see the replay of that last wave from Poi Nike. Thanks guys, they just bring it right up. So our crew, this first turn, just grab one. See him setting up for the second turn and just throwing so much spray, getting a little caught behind, but then I don't know how he did that third turn. That was incredible, with coming from behind the section and then going off the bottom, off the top for 3 very nice maneuvers. There's a shot of the mountains, which is our landscape here. Trying to find those mountain goats. So Noah Janella helping us out with the wildlife scouting, and
Did he bring his crossbow?
Looking out for him. Hopefully he brought his crossbow and can go up there and shoot us some dinner. We go to live action. F1 rider, so getting out in front of the wave for a nice swooping cutback, hitting the white water, and similar to Poi Nike's first wave, where their second turn they just came off the top. So Poi Nike 5.3 on your previous wave. So Poi Nike, your previous wave was a 5.3. 5.3. Going to a replay of Remy's last wave. You can see him pump down the line in order to create some room for the cutback, and then use the speed from the white water to go aggressive on the second turn, but it's so very difficult to judge the bottom and judge the bottom turn on this wave. So when these guys are falling off the back of the wave, you know it's very tricky because these are the best in the world. 3.6, Remy, your last wave was a 3.6. So a good score considering it was just a one maneuver wave. The judges really liking his arcing cut back into the whitewater. Connor is laughing over there. Connor and Justin Holland got something planned for the transition wave. They'll be coming up later in a couple of heats. So a couple of starboard team riders. So we're live with Poi Nike on wave number 3 of his rights. So he'll come close to the wall and you can see him misjudge his bottom turn there. Recovers with a nice second turn. Yeah, he knew he was a little bit off rhythm on that wave and just going for the fun 360 attempt. Poi Nike having a good time out there. So that will complete the rights for Poi Nike. I cannot wait to see what he does on the closeouts. Okay. See the bottom of his F1 board there. Some very nice colors, good graphics on that board. I like to see what fin setups each of the competitors are using. You see Poi Nike going with a thruster. A lot of the competitors choosing to go with a quad. The quad maybe allowing for a little bit more speed. So as we watch this replay, you can see him fade back into the wall, trying to go very aggressive off the bottom, but just bogging right there, not able to get up to the top. And then is just a little bit off rhythm. Wave was a little funky, and you'll see him just go for the little 360 flick. And he'll start preparing in his mind what he wants to do for the closeout. I'm gonna dare say he's gonna throw an above the lip air as we see live action of Remy turning and burning on his third right. So he'll pump down the line with a couple pumps, use a nice paddle transfer style cut back, and then doing a nice off the bottom, off the top combination on his second turn, completing turn 3 and turn 4, jumping off his board, making sure his fins don't scrape, and that'll complete his third right-hand scoring wave. So we'll set up the pool for the closeouts. We see the guys hanging with Poi Nike. He's asking about his score. And we'll take a look at that replay. And this Remy Keek. So you'll see he uses the speed to drive down the line to use a cutback, then comes off the top on his second turn. Turn 3 was a little setup turn, and then finishes it off. So we've got a scoring update. Poi Nike, your second wave was a 5.3. That will be your scoring, right? And Remy, your third wave was a 3.6. That will be your score. So Poi Nike with a 7.7 on his left, a 5.3 was his best scoring right, and Remy, his high scoring left was a 4.2, his high scoring right was a 3.6. So you'll see the two competitors discussing their scores and figuring out what they're going to do on the closeout section. As Caroline Anjabou is in the background over there as well. As you see, Poi Nike, Remy, Benoit, oh yeah, and Eric Terry and E.T. over there in the yellow jersey. Alexis Daniel, also from France. So again, you see the camaraderie. Two F1 riders, starboard rider, big sup rider, all working together as fellow countrymen. So we are in heat numbers 3 and 4, round number 1. We are setting up for the closeout section where we will go to our competitor in blue, Giorgio Gomez from Florida, United States, and Eric Perrion. Giorgio perhaps making a move to the West Coast sometime soon. I think the lure of surfing trestles every south swell is a great maneuver for him and sister Izzy to switch to the West Coast, so they'll be making a move, and it's really nice to see the family camaraderie between those two as Zane Schweitzer goes through on the skateboard. So these are the transition waves that the guys can go and catch. That's James Casey. He'll be on the right. So there is the one transition wave. Connor Baxter, always looking stylish. He's got his Maui gyms on.